This is absolutely Essendon. It's our round 5 review.
Jesus fucking gloves.
What are you...
What? Are we on? Sorry.
What are you doing?
Well, I got these on eBay.
Right.
They're apparently the actual gloves that OJ had on the infamous night.
Available on eBay?
Yep. Got them cheap.
Yeah.
And
what sort of deal?
I'll tell you what, he might be onto something.
Really?
I cannot get these bloody gloves on.
Right.
Oh dear.
That is amazing that he got off. Well, there's our ode to the juice.
The juice
OJ.
just got tipped down the drain.
Right.
And is all the way down to hell.
Yeah.
And may he fry there. Because, I know he was not found guilty because of Johnny Cochrane's...
Well, only in the criminal trial, but he was in the civil trial.
Correct.
Right.
You stole my very words.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
And
sorry.
a $30 million civil claim that he never paid.
Right.
Although, to be fair on OJ, he did try to steal his own memorabilia in order to raise the funds to pay the $30 million.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, and he wound up doing 9 years in jail because of that. So, hey, shit comes around, OJ. So, anyway, that's the end of him. But I thought, as a great footballer, and he was a great footballer, why not give him a little nod?
Right. Okay. There you go, AJ. AJ.
Very good.
But yes, let's get back to more important matters at hand. The Dons at Marble Stadium against the Western Bulldogs, winning by 29 points, turning around their performance from last week. Yeah. Was it capacity crowd? It felt like a pretty close crowd.
50,000, yeah. 50,000.
They're sitting 8th on the ladder for a few minutes at least. Mm-hmm. Terrible percentage, of course.
Better.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Well, it is better. I mean, it went from 80-something to
82
90.
82 to 90.6,
yep.
Yes. But all is forgiven.
Is it?
Or is it?
Well, I don't know. I tell you what, they are making fools of us, that football team.
They are.
This time last week, I think we were all in unison in calling them out.
Mainly. We got a little bit worked up. But the community, in the main, agreed with us. The responses varied.
They did, and I think, to be fair, and I have seen some comments floating around on the internet, these Essendon supporters that are coming out and saying, for all those people that were bagging our football team, how are you celebrating today? You've got no right to celebrate today because you were pissing all over them last week.
Well, no right.
None. Go follow Richmond.
You got to take the good with the bad.
You do. I'm a Bomber fan forever. All of that stuff.
You can't be fair with
all of that stuff. Well, I'm sorry. Come on, guys. If you watched that Port Adelaide game, there is absolutely no way you could say anything good about it. And perhaps, and just maybe, the boys gathered around with their mobile phones and tuned into absolutely Essendon midweek and thought, ooh, we better respond. And they did. And to be fair, they did it very well.
They did. But just on that point, is that part of being in a relationship with a football team? You take the good with the bad.
Well, through the week, I was actually thinking back to some toxic relationships I've had with, mainly women. I'm not going to say exclusively.
Right.
Let people,
you're fluid.
I could be.
It's about being fluid these days.
Like OJ.
Sure.
And, I think it is a bit like that. I always think it'd be like being married to a Brazilian woman.
I know people that are married to...
And, 1 minute it's like, oh boy, she goes off like a rocket. Next minute she's scratching your eyeballs out. Now, and not just Brazilian women too, by the way, so no hard feelings to everyone in Brazil. I know we've got a big fan base in Rio.
Let's just say Latin types in
Latin
general.
types. So I think maybe the Bombers are the sort of Latina type team in our competition, and we love them for that, but sometimes they can be a whole lot of fun, and sometimes you just wish you could run away. And I guess that's what we're dealing with.
That's not a bad summary.
Moment.
Well, last night was the former.
Oh, because she was going off.
They really brung it.
They did brung
it to Marble. The pressure gauge was redlining.
What was it like?
Hey? It was like...
Well, I'll tell you what, I know I was a bit like that at the halfway through the last quarter.
The desk could be going up again.
I'll tell you what.
Look out. That hasn't happened. That hasn't happened for a while.
But it was like that, wasn't it? The pressure that they applied really throughout the game was fantastic.
Yeah, but interesting though that a strong first quarter, like last week, second quarter, the doggies changed their game plan, and we were under all sorts of pressure for about probably the first 8-10 minutes of that second quarter. I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. They just figured it out. I don't know how much there is to figure out, but they did, got on top of it. But no, we responded. Yeah. We absorbed the pressure. And how nice is that to see?
I thought for a moment there I saw Connor Rosie running through the middle of the ground at Marvel.
Did you?
Just for a minute there, because you're completely correct. There was a lot about that game last night or Friday night that was very similar to the Port Adelaide game.
You were scarred, weren't you?
And I think even other people, and I heard some commentary on the game, saying that, there was a lot of similarities to the Port Adelaide game. And, of course, everyone was going, it's just a matter of time before the Bombers fold. And I would imagine pretty much all of us were thinking that. And I, again, have to say, credit where it's due, they didn't, and they went from strength to strength the longer the game went. And, well done to the Dons. And, yes, no hard feelings about some of the comments we made last week. We still don't like Adrian Dodoro, but, he wasn't out there playing, so, yeah.
Well, some of his, one of his recruits in particular, should we get into the nitty-gritty?
Sure.
I mean, it was Durham versus Goliath, and he did very well against Bontempelli. You've got to say, the kid did very well up against the big-bodied midfielder that we like to go on about.
A big-bodied midfielder who has torn us a new one pretty regularly.
He has. Well, of course, we lost the last 10 out of the 11 occasions against the Bulldogs, so they certainly had the wood on us. Yeah. But Sam, the Wolverine Durham, he really delivered.
He was great. And, just for a second, let's just talk about Adrian Dodoro, because we don't often bring him up.
No. It'd be good to spend some time
I do think
on him.
There is some value in recognising his ability to find these diamonds in the rough. And to be fair, he has with Durham. He did with Nick Martin.
It's your bargain buys. It's like when you go to a store and there's that bin out the front. Sometimes there's good shit in there.
Just don't let him near the national draft. That would be my advice, because I think, to be fair, he has done a pretty good job finding some of these guys. And, D'Ambrosio was another who's moved on, but looks like he's going to be a pretty decent footballer. So, Durham was great, and he's only going to get better. He was strong in the contest, and his disposal of the ball, particularly his handball, was just precise out of the middle. And I think he had 5 or 6 centre clearances himself. So... he was really, really good, I thought.
Definitely got his hands dirty. Yeah. He honestly, there were moments there where I just thought I was more confident with him around the ball than, say, Parrish.
Well, I think Darcy is struggling. He hasn't been good since coming back into the side, and I don't think he was good last night. His disposal efficiency was very poor.
Yeah, he had a few clangers, and his tackling.
Not the best.
Yeah,
well, I noticed so many times it's like he looks like he's going through the motions, but hoping someone else will do it.
It's like he's watched a YouTube video of how to tackle, and he's just right. So, see, I gave it a go.
I tried.
Yep.
Well, I guess that's...
He's like your mate at the restaurant that when it comes time to paying the bill, he's like, mate, I just got to go to the toilet.
That mate.
Do you need... do you want...
does the pocket, the pocket pack?
Yeah. Do you want me to...
Well, I think that's probably the ultimate insult, isn't it? So, Darcy, if you are watching, look, no hard feelings, mate, but look, try tackling a little harder. And I think your captain is an inspiration for that. So, if Zach can do it, you can do it. Yeah. And I think that applies to a few of our boys.
I feel sorry in a way because he had such a big year last year. Do you know what I mean? He sets the bar up here, and now we're like, hey, what's going on?
Well, he has come in from a disrupted pre-season, so perhaps he's just finding his way a little bit. Still a very good player, but he needs to show a bit more effort in some of those contests. But yes, I think our midfield, the Western Bulldogs have got probably one of the best midfields in the competition. And, I don't think any of them had any significant influence on the game last night. I think Bontempelli had arguably his worst game for a long time. And I think he had less than 2 kicks in the second half. So Durham on the other hand, was racking up possessions and creating a lot of havoc. So it was a fantastic game. And I also think Jai Caldwell should be mentioned too.
Yeah,
and
very much
some
so.
of Caldwell's pressure. He performed a really critical turnover in the third quarter that resulted in a goal for us. And it was just sheer pressure, sheer effort and determination. So, that's great, and I love to see that. And I think given that, we missed Setterfield, Perkins, of course, was not playing. The Bombers are showing they've got depth now in that midfield to cover some of the injuries. So well done to the boys. They really did turn it on last night.
Yeah, very much so. It was there was a lot of slipping on the ground. What was all that about?
Yeah, well, I mean,
On both sides.
of course. But why don't they just build a roof over this bloody stadium?
Yeah, they really should.
It's like it's in the rain belt out there. So
then that way, it just takes it all out of play.
I don't understand. You tell me, why on earth were they slipping over? It was like you love to refer to Swedish ice skaters. It was a bit more like that speed skating event that the Australian guy won when they all fell over.
Was it? Oh, Stephen Bradbury.
That's the one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe no one knows ice skating like you do. I've got to be honest.
Maybe it's the dew from the air conditioning.
You
just
think?
falling? Yeah,
Right.
just dripping down onto the.
Well, it was
onto the
terrible,
grass.
and I noticed it was happening a lot in the sort of goal square area as well. So, but yeah, you would expect to see a better standard surface in a professional sport, and look, that reminded me of Marvel Stadium 20 years ago when it had all of its problems with the surface. So, yeah, it was very interesting to watch. Also, just go on. Sorry, I was interrupting.
Just another little frustrating thing from it is we did better in the ruck against an All-Australian ruckman, whereas last week, not facing that, it's those things where we just get a little bit frustrated. It makes it hard to be in that relationship. That's what we're saying.
Well, I don't know what goes on in their heads. I mean, exactly. Yeah, who did they play against? Soldo, and Soldo, who's a journeyman at best. Made our boys, our rucks, look like one of the seven dwarves or two of the seven dwarves, and no hard feelings to vertically challenged people. You can say dwarf, can't you? That's all right.
No,
you can't.
Small
all right. Well, I'm
person,
talking about the
person.
fantasy version from Lord of the Rings.
Right.
So no hard feelings to them either. But against an All-Australian ruckman, they completely quelled his influence on the game, and Goldstein in particular was really good.
Yeah.
I thought Draper did some good things, but he's still manic. Still trying to get the goal of the year, as you've referred to in the past. So otherwise they did a good job. And look, it makes a difference when you're getting a bit of control around the contest. And our goals from stoppages again was very, very good. Although we're still leaking goals from turnovers. So that, to me, I think. They're the two key points that we've got to look at as far as how this team is developing. We're becoming a very good stoppage side, winning the ball out of stoppages and scoring goals from stoppages. But defensively, when we turn the ball over, we get opened up. And that was happening again, particularly in the first half of the game against the Bulldogs.
Definitely. Still a worrying sign. But at least there was a patch there where we were being defensive in our forward 50 and managed to keep the ball down that end for quite a decent passage. That was very positive to see. Yeah. And, you had a lot of pressure being applied by people like Harry Jones as well, laying some good tackles, getting himself some scoring opportunities. It was great to see.
Yeah, Jones was definitely great. I copped some flack a few weeks ago on, I think it was one of these internet forums by defending
You've got to stay off those.
I like to sort of lurk in the corners.
You start to wind people up. No, you're never in the corner.
No, I mean, I went head-to-head with some idiot over Harry Jones and his right to be in the team, and I proved to be right. And then when he had that great game when he came back for the St Kilda match, and I celebrated that, as you would expect, this particular person goes, "Oh, well, mate, he's just had one good game. You're going off like he's a Brownlow medalist." Well, guess what, pal? He's now had 3. Yeah. So I reckon I'm winning that one. And Harry Jones should never be dropped from this team, ever.
I don't. No. Easy.
The kid's got massive upside, and he's starting to show it. Imagine how good he's going to be at 100 games, and he's a little bigger, a little stronger. Give him some time. And I'm excited about Harry Jones. I'm very excited about the potential of Nate Caddy. Probably not so excited about Peter Wright, because I think with Peter, he's a good player, but I'm not sure he's necessarily the future. But certainly Jones and Caddy could be. So let's see how that plays out over time. But well done, Harry Jones, and his pressure in the forward line for a big guy, his mobility and his his running capacity is really second to none. So he's proving to be a fantastic asset for us.
May it continue.
Yes.
Now, we had 10 goal kickers last night. Some unexpected. You had Dersma kicking 2 goals.
Yeah.
And what I loved about his, apart from his goal celebration that we covered last week.
He does the face wash. What's that?
No,
he did that, and then he goes like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, first goal.
Because he sweat up from the arrow? Just got to.
Is that what it is? Is it like, pass me a towel before I do it?
I think is it the Nadal? Is it the Nadal?
Is it a Nadal, is it?
Is that what it is?
I have no
I don't
idea.
know.
Maybe someone knows why. Jake
if you
Stringer's
could.
like praying to 15 different gods when he
his first goal, it was a bit of a difficult angle, and not quite on the boundary, but a difficult angle, and I thought, is he going for this? And as he's walking in to take the kick, his eyes were darting. Like, he's walking in, he's still looking for options.
Maybe that's why he did the face wash.
He was all like, he was all, right up until the second he kicked it. He was just checking
Can I
for
ask,
options.
why do eyes dart? Have you ever... Well, we know, because sometimes we just say these things without questioning them. Why do eyes dart? Oh, his eyes are darting.
Well, it's just imagery that you're painting, right? Because they sort of... It's like when you go...
Yeah, right. So how's that a dart? A dart's something you throw at a dartboard.
Yes, right. Well, it just suggests that it's
just asking.
quick pointed movement, okay?
Like throwing a dart.
Yeah.
Or smoking a dart.
Yeah. No, it's nothing to do with smoking.
Oh, well, someone will tell us, I'm
right.
sure.
Okay.
I'm intrigued by the English language.
Are you?
Sorry for being scholastic.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, moving right on. No, Dersma.
Anyway,
I would like to talk about Xavier Dersma.
He's been a good pickup.
He
may have had a slower start than the others, but boy, is he...
Well, has he? I thought he was probably one of our best against Port Adelaide, and he was in the top 3 against St Kilda. That's a pretty good start.
Yeah. No, but there was 2 games before that.
And he was okay in those.
Right.
So I think he's currently in the running for Recruit of the Year.
Right. Okay.
I think he's doing really well. His game on the wing, he plays on the wing, and he scored 2 goals. If he keeps going at this rate, we've got ourselves a gem. We absolutely do. And I noticed in the change rooms after the game, I was down in the change rooms after the game, you might have seen me, his younger brother was there, who is most likely going to be the number 1 draft pick this year.
Was he trying on the Essendon jumper?
And, well, he looked very much at home in the Essendon change room. So how do we get picked number 1? I mean, other than tanking, which I'm sure we won't. But I would love to see his brother playing.
Was he being
He's apparently a fantastic player.
Was he getting a free bottle of red Gatorade?
David Barham was sidling up to him.
Was he?
Hello, son. Hey, do you like what you see here?
This could all be yours.
Yep, could be. Don't come. I'm glad you didn't come last week. A little bit more gloomy, but no. Dersma. How many brothers has this guy got? I think they've got sons in every second team in the AFL now.
So this
family.
One's better than the other 2?
I believe that's the word.
Course,
that is the word. Because his other one, Zane, I think, went to North Melbourne.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
All right. Well, that was great. So who else do we want to make mention of? I think Stringer, we talked a little bit about Stringer.
Now, did you see the incident with Stringer and Langford?
What was going on?
Well, there was a free kick given, and it was Stringer earned it.
Yeah.
Langford found
when he got the goal in the goal square.
Himself with the ball just outside the goal
just landed in his lap.
And he just said, well, I'll just kick it, thanks. And,
Langford took the advantage.
Langford,
right?
yes, he took the advantage. He kicked the goal. And the commentators made mention that, if looks could kill, Stringer was, gave him a dirty look. It was, he really...
hungry.
He really telegraphed his feelings there.
Good. Jake is hungry. He wants goals. And
that's the sort of look I see when I haven't cleared the dishwasher. Scary.
Right. Oh.
Scary.
You're not married to a Brazilian, are you?
No. It sounds like it more every day.
Do you know anyone who is?
No, I
do, don't you?
We do.
Please do not play this video.
No.
You know who you are.
Please do not use plugging your earphones.
Yeah, whatever you do. Otherwise, we could go down for sort of culpability and homicide here.
And we'll have another OJ on our hands.
We could. So look, Stringer was great. Yes. And they keep saying, well, it's a fit Jakey Stringer. Wow, doesn't he bring a lot? And he must have his contract coming. All of that's true.
Yes.
All of it's true.
It is.
He does bring a lot when he's fit, and he is fit. He looks fantastic. He's moving so well, and his pressure was incredible.
Yeah.
But, his X factor is certainly something that really adds a lot to our potency up forward.
Yes.
And he really is hitting probably the best form since late in 21, was it, when he had that great run of games?
Yeah, that's right.
Last time his contract
It's
came
great
up,
to have him back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
In a game where, to be fair to the Bulldogs, if they had kicked a little straighter, I'm not saying they would have won, not like the Saints game, but it would have been a bit closer.
You keep going on about these guys and the fact that they miss shots at goals.
No, it's because we're normally the guys
Cry
missing.
me a river.
This year we're kicking straighter, which is great to see. That is one thing that I think they have worked on in the pre-season.
So that's good football. We kick straight. We take our chances, and that's what they train for.
I just want to acknowledge the opposition.
I understand what you're saying, but I think there's an element of, teams that miss set shots have only got themselves to blame. And it's not a case of good luck for us. It's us taking advantage of the opportunity that they present.
Sure.
And we did that. I thought we did that very well.
So now we find ourselves at 3-2.
Yeah.
And remember we posted, I think, on one of our socials, that Herald Sun prognosis that after 6 rounds, so we're at round 5, that we'd be 2-4. So we're now 3-2, and we're playing Adelaide next week, though. They're at home. We travel again on Friday night.
Another Friday night game. Wow.
I'm pretty sure it is.
We are the biggest ticket in town.
Sure. Well, it's good to win on a Friday night, that's for sure.
Well,
it's
it
good
makes
for
the
share value.
weekend's a little better, isn't it?
It is.
So we're off to Adelaide. We were only there last week. Of course, that was the site of our horrific game against Port.
It is, but the Adelaide are not in the form thus far that they were in last year. But, of course, we know how to play a team into form.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Smoking is that if ever a team needs to find form, it's always great when you can see the Bombers coming up on the next round. So
they get excited.
And Adelaide Oval has not been a happy hunting ground for us, if we're to be perfectly honest. So, I'd be interested to see how the Crows go this weekend. I'm not sure who they're playing, but if they lose again this week,
I don't know who they're playing.
They surely will be primed for us.
They will be. They will be ready to go.
Our boys, Essendon,
coiled like a black type hand.
Darcy. No more doing this with looking for your wallet.
We do love you, Darcy. Like we do, and we do. It may not look like it, but we feel terrible when we take these cheap pot shots, but only because you conditioned us to.
We thought you were a champion.
Yes,
we did. You're just a pocket patter. Now, and the other thing is, I don't think we had any injuries from the game against the Bulldogs.
No, well, unlike Liberatore, what happened there? Did you see him? Stringer lay a serious tackle, and then minutes later
got crunched by Jake Stringer.
He did.
Crunched.
He did. And then, but it was like a delay. Well, I mean, it was instant reaction and then a delayed reaction a couple of minutes later where he just collapsed in the centre.
And Darcy was there. His pockets going, I've got him. No, I've got him. It's all right. That was the best tackle Darcy laid all night. Helping Libber up. Right. No, well done, Darcy. Great sport.
Absolutely.
And but I think Libber's come out today, being Saturday, the day after the game.
Right.
Because people could be watching this several years from now.
So really? Just going back. Let me go through the back catalogue.
I'm going to binge it.
Wonderful, absolutely. Let me go back to when the Dons were terrible.
Imagine that. What were they saying about the Dons? What were they saying about the Dons back in 24?
I can't imagine them being so bad.
Let us go through.
Let's.
Hey? Oh, they were terrible. Who are those two idiots? Now, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, Libber. Libber has said everything's fine, so that's good news because he is a champion of the game. And you don't want to see players...
No, he is very good.
That looked quite uncomfortable when it happened, so hopefully Libber's fine.
Yes.
I love the Doggies. It was good to beat them.
Yes, it was. I mean, hey, come on, give us a chance to beat you every so often.
Occasionally, please.
Come on.
Because Bont's going to come for us next time, but
yes.
But
he will.
Just going forward, let's just quickly look at the game coming up. So we talked about Adelaide in Adelaide on a Friday night. I think possibly there could be, Dylan Shield could be ready to come back in, but I honestly don't know who you would drop from that team. Would you drop anybody from that
Oh,
side?
yeah. I know there's still a few that I'd drop.
I mean, would you? Yeah, there's a couple of dogs there.
Let's not get ahead.
I think Jai Menzies might be looking over his shoulder this week.
Yeah.
Alan Davey was a little rusty, I think, but I'd persist with him.
Maybe a little intimidated by the
Hare Gresham had a
the
pretty shocking game.
Yeah, no,
he got better.
He
got better.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a tad harsh. Still worried.
Those small forwards are a concern for us, and I think as much as we've probably made fun of Matt Guelphy in the past, I'm looking forward to seeing Guelphy coming back into the team. He's still a couple of weeks off from. I think he's had like
soft
every
tissue?
player down there. He's had a slight recurrence of his injury. So
what is it with the soft tissue?
I don't know, but it's the hanger. And I know we talk about it all the time, but there is a problem with the hanger, and there's a problem with the surface out there, right? The actual, I don't know if it's couch grass or if it's buffalo grass.
How many other types do you know?
I know couch and buffalo.
Shiitake, is that a grass?
That's a mushroom, I think.
All right, okay. All right.
But there's something with the way the grass knits. And that causes
things getting stuck in there. Right.
So now I know you don't want to name names, but there is a very notable figure in the Australian soccer scene.
Yes, an iconic figure in Australian soccer.
Who said to you personally, he is the coach of a major Australian soccer, what do they call them, ASL?
Yes, all right. The people are going to be able to figure this out. But yes.
He said to you personally.
Of a soccer team. I was sitting next to him at a lunch.
As you do.
We got to talking.
Yeah.
And his team happened to be training at the hangar.
Yeah.
For
a professional
for
men's
a period.
soccer team.
Yes, yes. And I don't know how this topic of the injuries came up, but he said to me, he said, I don't know, but if it were me, the first thing I would be investigating is the fact that within the one training session they switch surfaces, because there's two surfaces there. There's one that's supposed to
Marvel size ground and an MCG.
Marvel, yes, an MCG. Yeah. And he said they switch within the one training session. And he said, I'm no doctor, but we certainly didn't, do anything like that.
So he had players injured from that?
I would be no, but because he was hanging around and he would he would see it, he would hear about it, and so he said that would be the first thing that I would be investigating.
So how many Chiantis had you had by this stage, just out of interest?
He wasn't drinking, I was, but no. But that was just his.
So
theory.
that's interesting. He would know, right?
Well, I figure he knows something, but he wasn't saying, hey, here's a solution, but I would be investigating that. That's what he said.
You want to be careful whistleblowing like that. David Barham could be watching. And I tell you what, David Barham might send Dodoro out for you. Casting aspersions like that.
Why did you throw me under the bus like that?
Well,
I said we can never talk about this because the guy told me.
Maybe I want to get you off the show.
Lunchtime back. You want this all to yourself, don't you?
You know, I get Adrian calling me on the phone these days. So
I did see that. Yeah. He wasn't happy.
No, he wasn't.
He
was but he'll be a little happier this week. We've said nothing but nice things about him this week.
Yeah.
So look, anyway,
like to balance the ledger,
injuries are an issue.
Yes.
But we're getting back to the point, which is very hard for us sometimes. I know.
It is.
I don't think there'll be too many changes for the Adelaide game, if any. I think those boys that played for us deserve to stay in the team, even though there were some that had quiet games. You never know. They might have their big game coming up. So I'm going to throw this out there now. It's early. It's a long way from Friday. But
long-range forecast.
I think the Bombers are going to win this game in Adelaide. I think they've got to see that the effort is rewarded. And if you keep applying that effort, that pressure, that commitment, including you, Darcy, the results will come. So
maybe they should just switch off all social media. Just block out all the noise for the next week. Hey, so you don't start believing.
Oh no, there's no chance. The Essendon marketing team will be recruiting them for God knows what sort of. How many goals do you reckon Jonesy's going to kick this week, guys?
We did make our point about that last week. Now on last week and just our episode, we had a record number of comments. Certainly for us, everyone wanted to share their feedback, and we thank you for that. And the feedback ranged from, you guys are irrational, you're like English cricket fans, to you're absolutely right. That was not a great performance.
I like that comment.
And some agreed.
Who said we were like English cricket fans?
I'd
actually say we're like English cricketers. They're the ones that are moaning and complaining all the time. On that, we can all agree.
But there were those that sort of said, that agreed that it was like it was a recruiting issue. Then there were those that said, no, it's not just recruiting, it's everything.
That's recruiting.
And it's player development. If you take a few of those recruits and you send them over to another club, it probably would have been a different result. That was their point. Then you've got those that say the fish rots from the head. There's a problem with the culture, everything down there at the club. So it was the full gamut. We thank you.
Thank you.
We read them all and enjoy them all.
We do. It's extremely enjoyable being abused occasionally by people I've never met.
We do get abused as well, but that's the world of the interweb.
I think you're actually making progress as a content creator when you start copying the trolls. And it's a bit like Wayne Carey when he played, you know.
Yeah, right.
Because he was great,
yeah,
everyone abused him, actually,
right,
because he was probably doing things he shouldn't.
Is that what it is? Well, you know, one of the comments has been, there's been a couple of comments along these lines saying that one of us, I don't know who, you know, could do with being a bit more humble. Now, I don't know who they were talking about,